Wonderful to see you all. And thanks for inviting me, Jen. I'm Carol Greco, and I have actually, my background is pain psychology and a behavior, what we call behavioral medicine. And this is where, and I've always been interested for my career, for which is about 30 years now, in how to help folks to learn that there's a lot that they can do to calm their mind and body, no matter what is going on. And so that's been sort of my privilege as a researcher and also as a clinician. Uh, to be able to do that. And so today, my hope is that I'll give you like a little bit of information, but mainly we're going to get a chance to talk a little bit and then and to practice some mind-body stress reduction things. My main thing is I'm a meditation teacher, so we're going to be a little, more heavily focused on mindfulness meditation as we go through this. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover a little bit is, a little bit about stress. What is it? What are some ways to think about stress? And then we're going to be doing some practice of mindfulness meditation together, get a chance to debrief how that is for you, what you're noticing, and also other mind-body techniques that are more just specifically around relaxation and being able to kind of switch gears a little bit. Okay, we'll have a chance, hopefully, to reflect and discuss. Okay, so stress. I mean, life can be stressful. These are just some examples, work, COVID, etc., medical procedures. You can't get away from stress. It's here. It's going to happen. It's not like we could just snap our fingers, right, and get away. It's really, but but it's happening for every person, everybody. And so, just taking a moment, if you want to, I don't know if I can see the chat, but maybe just even right now, just to think about like what would you say is stressful for you, And it might be something about your diagnosis or your, the getting scanned. It might be, I'm so sick of COVID. And so let me see if I can see the chat. Oh yeah, health. Yeah, the absolute. I love that. The unknown. Absolutely. It's like we wish we could know what's going to happen. Yeah, and various things that come up. Yeah, trying to get ready for a procedure. Yep, all kinds of things. And working too hard. Fear of cancer recurring. Yeah. Ugh, and just that whole thing about the white coat phenomenon. Just going to the doctor, your blood pressure goes up, right? Yeah, and so much to balance in our life. Okay, yeah, thank you. And so I guess I have another question for you too, and you could, just as just reflecting, yet stress is here. It comes at us fast sometimes. And noticing where in your body you feel the stress. You might not know. you know, And maybe you could put that in the chat. Yeah, so sometimes sometimes I think it can be easy to, like just forget, not even consider the body at all. But it takes place in the body: shoulders, neck, stomach, nausea. Some people get headaches or a tightness in the chest. Yeah, or the abdominal area. Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, and so and sleep. So this is actually, so it's in the body, but it's also in our whole behavior. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then we're right. And so one person is mentioning kind of the mind-body connection of, sleep, the behavior of sleep, and then you're trying to quiet the mind, and then the mind just goes, and then the worrying goes in overdrive, and that's probably going to have an effect on the body too. It's like a big vicious cycle. So part of this whole presentation, thank you so much. Part of this whole presentation is really about like we have to notice this stuff before, in order to be able to manage it better and make some choices, we actually have to know where in the body is it happening, how does that cycle get going? Okay. So thank you so much for sharing what you notice about where it occurs in your body, etc. And so a little bit about stress. And so the stress reaction is something that occurs. It's part of our hardwiring as human beings, and also any animal too We are all hardwired to react to big stress or even little stress in the same way with these things that you've probably heard of: fight or flight or freeze. And this is when any organism, it's reacting to a real danger or a threat of danger. It could be just an imagined, like, oh no, I have to give a talk to this group of people on Sunday night. That, stressful. But our bodies react the same way now here in 2022 as our ancestors' bodies reacted way back as cavemen. So the physiology is exactly the same, but it can be compounded, and as you wrote some of that in the chat, by the way that we think about things. We can actually make that cycle go bigger and bigger. The way we think about things, or our emotional reactions, our attitudes that can kind of keep it going and almost like get into like rumination and extra worry, etc. So it's helpful to at least know what kind of habits we have around that. And some of the attitudes and views that sometimes go with that stress reaction. I'm not saying this is true for you, but often people in my meditation classes, once they actually take a look at it, it's often things like, I want this to be under my control, and it's not, and I want my expectations to be met, and they're not. And basically, I just want things to be different, and I don't like this. And when we can step back from that enough to just realize, like, yeah, it's really, yeah, this is what it is to be human. We want things to be a certain way. It's not necessarily going to be. So, okay, this is what it is to be a human being. Just recognizing the impact of those views. So here's one response, to avoid stress. My doctor told me to avoid any unnecessary stress, so I didn't open his bill. I don't think that's going to be very effective in the long run. But when I thought about, talking with y'all, and some of the people that have been through my classes in the past, have said some things to me about the experience of being a person coping with cancer or caregiving, and is that, you just don't get to practice or prepare for what's happening next. It just happens. It's like this, and what can we do except live into every day, and that word accepting what is doesn't mean we have to like it, but it's like, okay, it's here. How's the best I can do, given that this is what's coming towards me? So my next question, and I think it's working out pretty good. Jen, I think it's working pretty good to just have them write in the chat. Should we do that instead of stopping the recording?
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. And then later, once we do the meditation, we might, do the more speaking to one another for the debrief. So yeah, so the next question is like, we've been alive for, a good number of maybe some decades, some of us. And so you probably have some methods that you do already use to kind of calm your mind or body. Some of them might be, things that you think really help your health, and I think you're learning a lot in the Happy Feet class for sure. Listening to music and walking. Yeah. You want to write anything else in the, oh, I love it, Legos. Yeah. Right in the chat. What you do to kind of dial down your stress, maybe calm your body a little bit. Yeah, knitting. Ooh, knitting. Journaling, drawing. Yeah, creativity. Reading, going shopping. Yeah. Yoga, listening to music. Doing some self-reiki. Okay, wonderful. Mindfulness, crafts, and walking. Yes, and snuggling with the pet, the dog. Yeah, absolutely. They're such wonderful, wonderful buddies with that. Thank you. Painting. Wonderful. You all are making me want to go do something creative. Do some painting. Thank you. Okay. So next we're going to get into like, let's, um, the focus of my presentation is really some hopefully fairly brief mindfulness and other things that you can do that might be different from what you're already doing. It's like it's nice to have a great big, bucket full of things that you can do to reduce your stress or calm your mind or body. So this might be a few more new ones for you. And like I see, talking with a friend, that's wonderful. Yeah, but we're going to talk a little bit about mindfulness. And so mindful attention can promote the relaxation response, which is kind of the opposite of that stress reaction of the tightness and like, oh, the worry and the things that can get going. And so what happens physiologically when we are giving that relaxation response, which is the antidote to the stress reaction, is that we're actually have the chance to actually lower our blood pressure a little bit. We might notice our hands and feet get warmer instead of like clammy hands and feet. It can actually slow the heart rate down a little bit. You get a little bit more feeling of relaxation in your muscles, and also emotionally tend to be associated with more feelings of calm. And if you happen to know what that word parasympathetic nervous system means, it's just that our nerves, our nervous system, our brain, or is the central nervous system. Then it also includes kind of a, the gas pedal and then the brake pedal, and then that parasympathetic nervous system is a little bit like the brakes pedal, where you just like chill, calm down a little bit. And we're lucky enough as human beings to have that capacity for calming down and chilling. It's part of our physiology too. Yeah, and the person who actually started this whole idea of the relaxation response is Dr. Herb Benson, and he actually died fairly recently. I was very lucky; I got the chance to meet him in the '90s. But he did a ton of research about the medical benefits of the relaxation response. And I love this quote from his obituary. He says, "It's not a drug. There are no side effects. It's cheap. It's cheap other than your time," he told the Boston Globe. "And it actually changes your gene's activity." What could be more profound than that? So, and many people unfortunately don't really know that there is this even thing that we can do for ourselves. Learn how to institute the relaxation response in ourselves. A little bit more about mindfulness. Again, this is something that I teach an 8-week class on. But what do I even mean by that word? It's like basically, I could say it basically kind of means, at least the kind that I practice and teach, it means paying attention on purpose to your present moment experience, and as best you can, without judging it, trying to make it different, or analyzing it. Just like, okay, this is here. Okay. And these are some of the key elements of mindfulness: attention, intention, and attitude. So um, purposefully paying attention in the present moment and best we can, non-judgmentally. Or if we're judging, we at least like, oh, judgment is here, and you notice it. and and so what are we actually doing? It's actually observing your sensations, noticing thoughts as events that come and go, and noticing what emotions are here, all from a standpoint of not really striving to get anywhere, and bringing some patience, some curiosity, friendliness, and self-care. And how do we cultivate mindfulness? At least, in my experience, the practice of meditation really helps a person to cultivate their natural capacity for mindfulness. We already have this capacity, but kind of training ourselves through meditation can be helpful for cultivating it even further. Um, Okay, so what I want to do next is actually get a chance to, practice a brief mindfulness meditation, where we're just kind of anchoring ourselves to the present moment. And so for many people that practice meditation, it's easiest to kind of gather your focus to your breath. But I also want to say that for some people, it's maybe the paying attention to your breathing. Say, for example, if you've got a really bad cold, or if you're having symptoms in the chest, it might make you more anxious to pay attention to your breathing. So you don't have to pay attention to your breathing. Good, just pay attention to, say, some touch point, like the palms of your hands or the feeling at the bottoms of your feet. We're basically just going to be focusing our attention, and you can choose either to attend to your breathing or to some body sensation like a touch point, your hands or your feet, your seat on the chair. If you want, you can allow your eyes to close, but you don't have to. You can let them be a little bit open. No worries. And I'm going to ring a bell, but the bell is not necessarily needed. And it doesn't always sound so good on Zoom, so I apologize in advance for that. Perhaps taking a moment to check in with your posture, and if it would be feel okay, just kind of straightening your back a little bit, feeling the alertness that comes when you allow your spine to be fairly straight. If you'd like, allowing your eyes to close, but it's okay to leave them open. Maybe with an unfocused gaze a few feet in front of you. And then beginning to gather your attention to something that's actually here physically, for you right now. And it might be that the breath sensations are easy, and available. So just beginning to explore how it feels in the body as the breath comes in and touches perhaps your sensations right at your nostrils as air comes in and goes out. Maybe you notice that it's a temperature's a little different on the in breath and the out breath, or some other sensations changing right here with the in breath and the out breath. Or you might wish to explore how it feels at the rib cage or lungs as you breathe. Perhaps a movement, expanding and settling. And no need to manage or control your breath or your breathing in any way. Just allowing breath to be as it is, and you're actually witnessing it and really fully present for it. Exploring with gentleness and friendliness, curiosity. Not trying to make anything happen, but simply being completely here for yourself. Anchoring to this present moment, perhaps through this guiding line of breath sensations. And of course, the mind will wander and, maybe to what's happening next or to the grocery list. And that's very normal. And no need to, be harsh with yourself for the mind wandering off. It's what it is to be human. But just gently, if you notice that, just redirect your focus back to your anchor, to breath sensations or some other physical sensation that you choose. The mind wanders, and gently escort it back to the breath or the body sensations. Noting where it went, perhaps, and then inviting it to come back to the anchor and coming home to the present moment. Not trying to make anything happen, but simply opening up to what's already here. Willing to be fully present for yourself as you are right now. And remembering that even if the mind goes off on a story, no worries. When you're able to, just gently redirecting back to your breath or to your body sensations, anchoring to the present moment. Perhaps taking a little bit deeper breath in and feeling that energy come in. As you let the breath go, noticing if some of the muscles maybe release a little bit. So as we get ready to finish this meditation, maybe just taking a few little bit deeper breaths and letting them go. Each in-breath, perhaps feeling the pleasantness of bringing in this energy. Each out-breath, maybe a little bit of release. Each out-breath. And when you're ready, just opening up your eyes. And if you'd like to, maybe, just stretching or whatever, you might want to. Sometimes the body says, oh, I want to move a little bit. So take care of yourself, whatever that might mean for you. Okay, thank you. So that was just a very, very brief, mindfulness meditation in which we're just paying attention to something that's already here, the breath sensations. And let's see. This maybe right now, Jen, we could try just talking instead. Did you start your Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Well, so thanks for the brief, noticing with the brief meditation, and for talking about that a little bit. Um, Let me see here. Gotta advance my slide if I can. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So, and one of a couple of things that came up, was as we talked, and some meditation myths that often people will bring up when I'm teaching the meditation classes is things like this, like, or that there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it, and am I doing it right, etc. But some of the myths are these, like, oh, I'm supposed to be able to clear my mind. I couldn't, my mind's busy. I'm supposed to think of nothing and have a blank. I'm also supposed to feel good and positive, or I'm supposed to feel relaxed. Well, guess what? So here's, good luck with clearing your mind, okay? No, the mind is it's a human mind. It's gonna wander around a bit. It's like it's better if we maybe make some peace with that, if possible. Think of nothing. Well, ditto. Good luck with that. And then, am I supposed to feel positive and good all the time? Hello. No, but really, it's really about more like acknowledging how you feel, opening to it. When we actually face towards how we feel, there can be like a little bit of like, yeah, the body and the mind kind of go like, yeah, she gets me, or he gets me. And can be a very positive thing. And so relaxation often will happen, but not always, especially if we're stressed about trying to do it right or whatever. Okay. So relaxation, I always describe that to my patients. In mindfulness meditation, it can be a very pleasant side effect that's often, but not always happens. Okay. So those are some of the common mindfulness meditation myths. And I'm a researcher, so I feel like I want to, at least let you know that there's a lot of meditation research studies that have been done over the years. And these are some of the conditions, that have been studied. Probably pain and anxiety and distress are some of the ones where we see the strongest results, but it has been studied quite a bit. And the way that it's often studied is through a curriculum, an 8-week program that teaches people how to meditate. This is the one that I teach at the UPMC Center for Integrative Medicine. And it's it's an 8 weeks long program, so once a week, come to class. And it's very secular, even though it's based on ancient Buddhist practices of meditation. And it has a lot of focus on discussion and learning from one another. And we learn to apply mindfulness in our daily lives. And it really is where a lot of the research evidence is coming from, because you sort of need a curriculum to be sure that you're actually doing, the studies in an appropriate way. And it was originally started at UMass General Hospital, but now it's really taught all over the world, and it's expanded to many, many settings, including schools, corporations, athletic teams, even jail, and community settings. So it's really becoming quite a bit more widespread. But this is an 8 weeks long program, so it's not for everybody. It takes quite a lot of energy, to do it. So we did a little bit of a meditation, but I also want to teach us today. Oh, I want to make sure we don't run out of time. But another thing I wanted to do was a little bit of a relaxation with you. This is not mindfulness meditation, but it's just to let you know that pleasant place imagery is another brief mind body skill that you could use to calm the mind and body. And is often associated with that relaxation response. And I've worked with, in many studies, worked with folks that have a lot of pain, and it can actually reduce their pain, as can meditation sometimes. And basically, all you're really doing is bringing an image into your mind and really, really being with it as much as you can. And so we'll get a chance to do that. How does it work? Well, our human attention is limited. And so if we're caught in worrying about things, or, we're really kind of, our mind is going, if we actually focus the attention on something pleasant, a pleasant memory or whatever, it can bring us back to a little bit more centeredness, and kind of train the mind to let go of that pain and worry. Okay. So let's just do that right now. And it's similar to mindfulness meditation, but this is one I remember that in our talk earlier, someone mentioned the guided imagery of going into water or whatever that was part of a meditation they did. But this is specifically using imagery to calm oneself. And so I'd like you all to kind of picture in your own mind, um, so perhaps a place that is associated for you with happiness or joy or safety. And it might be an outdoor setting, or it might be, your favorite chair, inside your warm home. And so just kind of getting that image, for you. Um, and we're not all going to have the same kind of image, but so as you sort of set that image and try to just settle on one, you might have more than one, but just settle on one, and beginning by just imagining what it looks like, bringing in the visuals as though you could see it, the colors, shapes, and also now bringing in whatever sounds would be associated with this pleasant place. And imagine that you can actually hear them, any sounds, bringing in any smells that might be in this place, imagining that you're there and that any that sensory aspect, smell, and maybe also feel, the kinesthetic or the touch sensation. So perhaps if it's outside, there's a little bit of a breeze, or there's, warmth of the sun. So imagining perhaps your feet touching whatever is below your feet in this place. Any other feelings? So really filling in all the details, and perhaps with each detail that you bring in, that you imagine, allowing yourself to be more fully in this pleasant place in your mind's eye. And with each detail that you imagine that your mind and body can become more deeply and pleasantly relaxed with every detail that you build in. Just allowing yourself to breathe and enjoy being here. And now taking a little bit deeper breath in, feeling that energy and letting it go. And as you let these deeper breaths go, Just maybe letting yourself know that you can keep the benefits of being at this pleasant place, even after you've opened up your eyes. Okay, and maybe even letting yourself know that that one was pretty quick, and that might be something you could build in, to any moment, waiting at the doctor's office or at a red light. I guess you got to be aware to keep your eyes open, but yeah. So that was just another, like a little bit different. It's not a mindfulness meditation, but it's a very brief relaxation exercise. If you want to say a word in the chat of what you might have noticed, that would be great, if you're willing.
We can stop if you want.
Well, I'm afraid we're gonna run out of time. I still got a few more.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's up to you. I think we could probably go a little bit over. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
Yeah.
want to honor everybody's time, but
Okay.
it's really interesting when we kind of fill our, okay, yeah, and somebody said it was a little harder. Yeah, and honestly, I'm a meditation teacher, so I probably guide it, I like guiding mindfulness meditation a little bit better, but yeah, and it's really helpful if you kind of have a spot that you like to go. And some people are more visually oriented or like that imagery. Other people, it's like, no, so that's fine too. Because we might have a whole basket full of things that we can do to calm our mind and body. And not everything is going to be as, excuse me, great for every single person. Excuse me. Okay, so I think I'm still sharing, right? Yeah. So next, I want to just show you real quick some very brief mindfulness and relaxation practices for everyday life. And we do these in my 8 weeks long MBSR, mindfulness based stress reduction class, but we tend to do them a little bit later in the class after people have learned the main skills of their meditation practice. So these might seem a little bit like I couldn't do that, because maybe you haven't had that much experience with focusing in this way. But here's one of my favorites, and I get asked to teach to medical students or residents a lot, and they all want something that they can do just quickly, like right now, just only they want it as quick as possible. Well, you know anyway, yeah, well, I like that. Music can be very relaxing too, so we all have our things. So here's the squeegee breath. Okay, this is like a single breath meditation. And so what I want you to do is just feel the bottoms of your feet. So you feel that you do have some feet down there. Oh yeah, I know I have feet because I can feel the floor. you know. So just noticing you got some feet down there, and then now actually feel your head. See if it's possible to actually feel the top of your head. If you can't, maybe even just tap it. See, like, oh yeah, I got a top of the head right up there. And then we're going to do the squeegee breath. And now the squeegee, it's like we're cleaning something off. A squeegee cleans a window off, right? You put the soapy water on, then you squeegee it down and clean it. So with the squeegee breath, we're kind of doing that. So I want you to place here we go. I want you to place your attention at the bottoms of your feet. And then on one of your in-breaths, taking a really deep in-breath all the way up from the bottoms of your feet, feeling it go all the way up to the top of your head. And on your out-breath, squeegee breath down all the way from the top of your head down to the bottoms of your feet, just like that squeegee on the window. And breathing normally. And if indicated, you can smile. Let's do that one more time. So place your attention at the bottoms of your feet and breathing in, squeegee breath all the way up to the top of your head. And on the out breath, squeegee all the way down from the top of the head down to the bottoms of your feet. Cleaning, purifying, and if you want, just smile. So it's like, basically like taking a single deep breath, but that's kind of a way to bring in body awareness and also imagery. And if you like it, that squeegee breath is a nice way to remember how to take care of yourself. Another one that I teach in my class is for mindfulness in daily life is this one, where it's like, we use what we call the stop technique. And what we do with the stop technique is simply to, maybe you do it when you're noticing a little bit of stress or tightness or tension, or maybe you could just practice it at any time. Because, of course, the more we practice when we don't need it, like, you didn't start riding a bike down through a mountain, right? You practice when you just practice it to get the skill. Stop, pause, come to stillness, and then T for take a breath. And next, open and observe what's your present moment experience. Just opening to any sensations you feel, what emotions might be here, what thoughts or attitudes might be here, and what the situation is that you're in. Just simply opening to it. And then the P stands for proceed. How can I best take care of myself in this moment? This one I really love for, moments when you're just not quite sure what to do to take care of yourself. Sometimes after this little bit of centering and opening to what's going on, there's this little bit of wisdom that comes not so much from the head, but maybe from the heart. It's like, maybe what's the best thing I can do right now is to just shut up, zip my lip, or to leave the room, or or you know or to just rest. What's needed now. And so that's one use of the stop technique. Okay. And I think what I'd like to do is I'm going to skip, the next couple slides. Sometimes I like to use the stop to reflect about something together, and you could decide to do this later if you want to, but use that stop technique to reflect about how you want to take care of yourself in 2022. Um, and maybe write down some of that. So we were going to do breakout rooms, but I don't want to take the time because I want to make sure we have time for some Q&A. Okay. And then I also just wanted to show you some resources. Now, hopefully, you're very used to various different, apps on the smartphone or at the computer on computer websites that have all kinds of relaxations or meditations. Now, my favorite of all time is Insight Timer, and it has so many things, that it's really very difficult to find the one that you really like. So, that like somebody was talking about how the relaxation ends up being all this imagery, and it's like then they can't fall asleep. So you kind of have to, just try a few. And I would suggest if you want to try the Insight Timer, maybe look for ones that say mindfulness meditation or body scan or breath awareness. And just try them. And you can get some will only be 5 minutes, others might be as long as an hour. So you can sort of sort by topic and also by length of meditation. And there's a lot of relaxation exercises in Insight Timer too. Some of the very popular apps for meditation are also listed here: 10% Happier, Headspace. Both of those are like, I think you can do some free, but they tend to be a subscription. And then Calm is one that a lot of my students really love. So as I said, my favorite's Insight Timer, but I would suggest maybe try some of those. And then at the bottom there, I put the name of the class that I teach, and it's offered at UPMC, the Center for Integrative Medicine, of 2 or 3 times a year. So, and there's also nowadays they're all online, but someday we'll do it in person again. Yeah, and somebody wrote in the chat something that I'm enthusiastic about, which is getting away from technology and going into the forest, forest bathing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that one.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay.
And so yeah, so that was pretty much, what I wanted to present to you, and we got a chance to practice a few things, and maybe we could have just a couple minutes for Q&A.